thank all of you so much for joining me for the next hour as we speak to Lorianne Vaughn Speaks, a coach for public speakers. I'm Linda Fisk, the CEO of LeadHERship Global, and I am absolutely thrilled to welcome all of you to the program today. For those of you that are not LeadHERship Global members, it is the most impactful community of extraordinary women in the world. We unleash the full potential of high-performing and growth-oriented leaders in a confidential, supportive, and private community, helping members accelerate their success. And we do that by helping them define their vision, grow their leadership, expand their influence, and leave a lasting legacy. So if you're interested in learning more about this remarkable community of women leading across business, entertainment, and politics, then please reach out. Now, for today's topic, are you actually thinking of starting a speaking career? Well, I got to tell you, like many things we want in life, becoming a professional speaker requires a solid strategy. So before you hit the pavement as a speaker, it's important that you think about your intention and how you plan to leverage speaking as a tool to grow your business. Breaking into professional speaking might seem like a daunting task, but by following a few key strategies, you can both start and sustain a motivational speaking career. If you're wondering about the complexity of becoming a public speaker, or perhaps its viability as a full-time job, I got to tell you, this is the conversation for you. And I'm so glad that you're joining us today. As a whole, the speaking industry has exploded over the last decade. Currently, in the US alone, there are thousands of speakers working full-time as presenters for events around the world, for corporate America, for nonprofits, and globally, that number is in the hundreds of thousands and continues to grow. So whether you're the beginning of your speaking journey, at a crossroads, or you're seeking to redefine and refresh your message, or perhaps you're just ready to get paid as a speaker, consider your message, your market, and your medium, as well as your method, should be part of your speaking strategy. And that's what Lorianne will talk to us about today. Lorianne Vaughn Speaks helps speakers create their foundational materials, their signature talk, their social media presence. Through today's conversation, you're going to be able to learn about what you need before you hit your first stage, whether that stage is virtual or in person. After 2 decades in the speaker world, Lorianne is helping speakers create truly lucrative careers as a professional speaker. So before we jump in, let me just take a moment to tell you about Lorianne Vaughn Speaks. Lorianne provides her mentoring skills and has for over 20 years in the speaker community to both new and established speakers, helping them grow their business. And while Lorianne can provide the strategic mentoring to start and grow a speaking business, her staff actually offers seamless follow-through to amplify your business. Lorianne can help you grow your visibility and get your message out to the people that need to hear it. So with that, please help me welcome Lorianne Vaughn Speaks. Lorianne, we're so glad you're with us today. Thank you.
Oh, it is my pleasure to be here. And I love supporting the LeadHERship community. I have found it to be extremely helpful in my career as well. So thank you, Linda. I do appreciate you. So I'm not quite sure where everyone is on the spectrum of, are you a speaker or are you not? So I'm going to sort of start with the beginning and take it from there. And really, the first thing you need to do is do your own due diligence. As with anything that you take on, you want to make sure that you're setting everything up the way that you want it to come to fruition. In other words, you need to have your vision and you need to set your goals. So what is it that is your message? What is it you want to go out and speak about? And you need to be passionate about that message, because if you're not, no one else is going to be. So pick something that you have to speak about. You need to either help somebody. What is your why? Why is it that you want to hit the stage? Is it to help others? Is it to make money? I mean, that is a legitimate goal. And are the goals to be, say, a motivational speaker, and the speaking in and of itself is the end result? In other words, you're not a coach trying to sell your program, or is it that it is a speaking opportunity to bring in people to buy your programs and buy your coaching? So based on that, we'll really line things up to know how to take the next steps. And do you know who your ideal client is? I have asked this question of probably every speaker I've ever worked with, and it's truly amazing how many do not. Oh, everyone could use my services. No. This is a world where we have niched down. You want to find your tribe. You do not need to be the Tony Robbins to be a professional speaker who is bringing in good income. And your tribe is really what's the important thing. Because if you're helping them, it is a joy to get up in the morning and to help them and to want to give that speech for the 300th time, right? So what is it you're passionate about? What is your message? Are you a subject matter expert in that field? You don't necessarily have to be the guru and know absolutely everything. To this day, I don't know absolutely everything about speaking, but in my masterminds and whatnot, I bring in speakers to help in areas that I'm not the strongest in. So you don't need to be a guru in every facet. You want to niche down to what you want to talk about and who you want to help. So you first things are really sit down and identify who that ideal client is. But the other end of the spectrum is I had a speaker client who I asked her, do you know who your ideal client is? She goes, oh, yes, and sent me a 6-page document down to what kind of car they drive, how many kids they have, and everything. It doesn't have to be quite that detailed, but you do want to get down to the specifics because it will help you identify where you want to speak. So if the end goal is to sell your programs, you want to go to conferences that person, that avatar, and I'm sorry, I'm old school. I still want to call it an ideal client. An avatar, I just picture a big blue person from the movie. So you really want to identify who your ideal client is. So this is part of your due diligence, okay? And why is it? Simon Sinek is very popular right now, and the Why Institute with Dan Dominguez. It's important to know your why, because if you know why you're doing something, it makes things more clear for you as well. Once all that's clear, then you go in and you need to identify what platforms your ideal client are playing in. If you're business to business, obviously you want to be LinkedIn. If you're business to consumer, your main platform might be Facebook. It all depends on who that ideal client is and what platforms you want to really focus your attention on. I'm a big believer in being on all of them, but you focus and you do the main emphasis where you know that ideal client is, okay? Once you've determined what you want to speak about, now you have to put together the marketing materials, because you have to have a speaker kit. You need to have this information down pat so that you are professional from day one. Just because you want to be a speaker, you can't put speaker on your LinkedIn profile and assume that you're going to get calls, because guess what? You're not. You have to do the research. You have to do the outreach. It's not easy peasy with regards to, oh, I'm a speaker on this. They're all just going to come and ask me questions. No. You need to really put together the marketing materials, which includes, as I said, the speaker kit. What's involved in that is, please get professional headshots. It's hugely important to come off as the professional that you are or want to be. And by putting out the right kind of image, even if you've only been on stage 2 or 3 times, if you're presenting yourself as a professional, it leads to that professional. It's all about manifestation as well. But within that speaker kit, you want to have professional headshots, your bio, the topics that you speak on. And when I say that, you want to have 2 or 3 different speaking signature talks that you can offer an audience. And with that, you have your topics, your description, and what are the learning objectives of your speech. When you submit to speak at a conference, and 95% of them are all done by online submissions, these are questions they are going to ask. And a learning objective is, what is it that your audience is going to walk out of that room knowing that they didn't know before? It's not necessarily, the things that are important to you. You're going to tell them, let's say it's a bunch of human resource people, okay? They're going to walk out knowing how to recruit the right person for their openings, or how to recruit the right person for team fit. Things along that line. What is it that's going to be that marketing thing that the potential audience, when they're picking who they want to go speak, listen to, what is it that's going to grab their attention? Oh my God, I need to know that. So again, it's part of the marketing, but it's also giving them an idea of what you speak on. Also within your speaker kit, please make sure you have all your contact information, as well as testimonials. If you have, one way or another, find a couple of testimonials. Whether you've done consulting work, within a company, and you did a great job for that team, ask for a testimonial. This is something that I tell my clients all the time. Every time you speak, what you want to do is you want to have a debrief after you've done your talk, so that you can find out, A, did it go over well? B, what could be better? This is a learning experience for you too. But if they say, oh my God, you should have heard the response, everybody loved you, da 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 da. I've already seen Joe Schmo has already put together this team over here and is taking your material and running with it. You want that testimonial. Ooh, can I use that? And 90% of the time they will say yes. Some huge companies do have issues with regards to testimonials, but for the most part, not a problem. Always ask. Always ask. With the speaker kit, and this is something, like I say, it needs to be done first, because this will then be able to be used to get your material off. I say have a PDF, a beautiful version, and have a Word version, so that if you are just submitting online, you can cut and paste. I want to make things easy for everybody. And you want the PDF version for another avenue of getting your materials out as you introduce yourself to maybe program directors or event managers, things along that line. It's all about networking to get your name out there. And it's that piece that will have an event manager or event planner go, ooh, that's exactly what my client was looking for. And so you want to have these type of relationships. When I talk about visibility with my clients, it's about connecting. Whether you ever do business with them specifically, it's that, 6 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon. I've had more, 20-minute, half-hour conversations with people I'll never do business with. But interestingly enough, they have referred people to me. So never turn down the opportunity to have a conversation, ever. Once you've put all that material together for your visibility aspect, make sure your LinkedIn profile, your Facebook profile, if you're doing Instagram, and I will say, believe it or not, ladies, Pinterest is the number 3 search engine in the world, and business is being done on Pinterest. Don't overlook Pinterest as an opportunity to get your name out there. I'm on all of them. I will say I'm not on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. I just can't go there. I think I'm past that stage, but I will tell my clients, video is the way that people are hitting. And so you do want to be able to do your videos and post them up. A piece of information on that. Well, TikTok, it's only 15 seconds, 30 seconds, something silly like that. But keep it between 1 minute and 2, no longer than 2 minutes for a LinkedIn live or a Facebook live. Everybody's just scrolling. And if they stop to listen, make it easy for them to listen to the whole message. Does all that make sense?
Yeah, I will tell you, Lorianne, that's great advice, especially the materials that have to be created prior to getting on your first stage, or perhaps you're already a speaker and it's been a bit haphazard. To have a true speaker kit fully vetted and ready to go is just absolutely step one. So it's about creating those contacts, but it's also about having a true speaker kit ready to go. So a couple questions that have come into me personally through the chat, and then I want to open it up for folks, is does that speaker kit need to be online? So is it best to have your own website? And in that website, it has testimonials, headshots, contact information, signature talks, topics, descriptions, as well as, perhaps video examples of other places where you've given talks where they can see quick snippets of your style and your approach and that type of thing. So it's best to do it online.
Yes, you want to have it available everywhere. Because again, when someone is doing their due diligence to see if they want to bring you in as a speaker, the more entries into the Google search that they can see, the better. I'm not really a speaker myself. I do podcasts, and I'll talk about that a little bit in a little bit about how to perfect your message through podcasts. But the more entries into Google that says Lorianne Vaughn speaks, and believe it or not, speaks really is my last name. I had that before I went into the speaking industry. So I've had more people think that I'm Lorianne Vaughn who thinks she speaks, but that's not me. But when somebody Googles me, you'll see hundreds of entries because you want to have it everywhere. Yes. Do I have a website? I do. I did take off my speaking page, but if speaking is what you want to do, you want that You want to have an about Rachel, and about Georgia, and say, and within that page have a downloadable PDF of your speaker kit. But in the United States alone, there are 46,000 events a day. They are always looking for speakers. And that's why I say, knowing who your ideal client is, and if you have a coaching program or something to then have them go to, even if you're not getting paid for the speech itself, if you get 5 clients out of that audience, you just made it a paid speech. So don't negate the free speech category, especially if you have a book or something like that. You ask if you can sell the book at the back of the room. There are different ways to monetize. One of the things that I was going to get into is to make sure that if you are a coach, if you have, Vandana, you said that you have done quite a few webinars. The webinar is where you need to be making them pay to listen to a webinar. And that is just a given. Don't give free webinars unless it's just an introduction to lead them to a full-fledged webinar that's going to cost $100 or whatever the case may be. Okay, I don't know your ideal client, what they're able to pay. If you're working with high-level executives, then it's a whole nother level of fee. Okay, you need to take into consideration who that ideal client is with regards to your pricing as well, because you can, it's just like the funnels. We talk about funnels. I'm more, what's the word I want? Oh well, I'm not a big fan of funnels, other than doing the free speech that brings them into a low ticket item like a webinar that then brings them to the individual coaching, okay, which is your high level ticket. Does that make sense? So often we make assumptions that people won't pay it, and they will. They will. So it's a level of credibility that you do want to set up, which it sounds like you have already done. So you've got that credibility. Now's the time to say, you know, here in America, a $47 webinar is a no-brainer. It's under $50 for us. It's a no-brainer. I do them all of the time. And I participate in them all the time. So I will pay my $47 to go listen and learn something. Couple things, though, that I do want to just touch base on, because we've talked about getting all the materials together to be able to do that speech. When you do that speech, yeah, you need to create that signature talk for yourself. You want to make sure that when you put it out there, though, that every talk you give can be tailored for the audience that you're submitting to. You want to make sure that you put that caveat in there so that, and you do, because the best speakers are going to tailor it to the audience they're speaking to. It's not a cut and dried. This is no longer the era of, Proctor and having to know every word of every speech, and then you turn left and you say this, and then you turn right and you say that. No, we're done. You have to be, you have to interact with the audience. You have to see what works, what doesn't. So you need to create it. You need to know where you want to go with it. And then I go in with my clients and we talk about, okay, is it a 30-minute speech? Is it a 60-minute speech? Is it a 90-minute speech? Because you can take that same speech and add stories or take away this or whatever based on your timing, based on your audience. And that's when you get really known as someone that cares about each audience that you speak to. So be aware of that. If you are totally beginning and you have never given a speech, podcasting will help you really niche down and hone your message. because the beauty of a podcast is it's a conversation. And you don't have to have every point done. You don't have to have PowerPoints. You don't have to have all that, but it will hone your message for your speeches. So, I mean, we can go into how to do all that, but that'd be a whole nother hour. So, so I want to just answer your questions. So let's shoot.
All right, we have Laura Cobb, who had a series of questions. And so, Laura, you have the floor.
Hi, Linda. Hello, everyone. And thank you so much, Lorianne, for being here. Lorianne, that's my name.
Really? That's so cute.
So I do have a bunch of questions, but I'll try to modify it. So first of all, I just want to say to everybody, based on what you just said, Lorianne, I'm the executive producer of 2 LinkedIn Live global broadcasts. And I'd love to, if anyone is, if you're an entrepreneur, and you wish you would have known then what you know now, and or you have some story of resilience, I'd love to vet you and have your story be heard. I'm just the producer. I just vet. I'm not the director. So if you have something to share, I'd love to hear your story. And I'm sure the audience would as well. So that said, are you familiar with the website onesheet.pro? It's an offshoot of podit.net, which is primarily a website for podcasters and podcastees who are searching for and wanting to be on the show, or they're looking for guests.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry?
Yes, I have. I've heard of that. And there's a few others as well. Yeah.
And then the offshoot is onesheet.pro. It seems like there is, beg your pardon. It seems that the one sheet, kind of like the promo, like a headshot for Hollywood. I don't know that industry very well. Is that similar to what you're referring to as I don't know what you call it.
Speaker kit.
A bio sheet for speakers?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a one sheet is just a little bit a little less expansive. You still want to give your topics a real quick 1-sentence description. And you want to have testimonials. You want to have that. You want to have all the different things that I listed in a speaker kit. A speaker kit is just a little bit more professional and says, I have more to offer than a 1-page. Now, with regards to that, I want to make everybody very clear that those type of organizations, I don't know what they're charging, but those type of organizations are just like any speaker bureau. Unless you're Obama or someone like that, they're not going to do anything proactive for you. It's just a place to put your information, which again, as I said, is not a bad thing because it will come up in the Google search as another place to read about you. Okay. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but if it's an exorbitant price, I wouldn't do it. If you want to speak, then one of the best is espeakers.com. And I think it's e-speakers.com because in all actuality, many speaker bureaus use that database as they search as well. And you can be anywhere from $100 to, $100,000 and be on that site. And I think it's $99 a year to be on that site.
Okay. I'm not familiar with that for the payment. I know that I had a situation where earlier this spring, I had a company call me and they said, would you like to give your pitch on our show tomorrow at this exact time? I did. I prepared for it. 5-minute spiel, and they called me like a half hour later. You were amazing, and our speakers loved you, and you rated off like out of 50, like a 47, and nobody else has ever been that high before. And would you want us to represent you? We'll give you how many shows that you want, and oh, by the way, you're going to pay me. And I said, wait, I'm not going to pay you. You contacted me.
Yeah.
I said, if your audience loved me, then I should be.
Yeah.
So I called them on it, and they just hung up on me.
Yeah.
So,
be real careful.
Right. There was another question that I had. I'm forgetting it, so I'm going to take a one down and let the rest of the audience have the floor. Thank you.
You bet. You bet. If I can, and if you think of what that question is, feel free to reach out to me later. I'm happy to answer any questions. Okay. Okay. So who else had a question? I'm trying to read the chat at the same time. And okay, I see that podcast. Can you provide your LinkedIn link, Laura? Oh, so somebody's asking for your link, Laura.
So
I've got a question.
go ahead.
This speaker kit, I don't see at all doing this professionally. It's to get business. And this speaker kit, is there a place that I can get access to something like that has it all listed out? Or what do I do to make sure that are there examples of it online that you know of?
Oh, I'm sure you just go to a speaker website. I'm sure that they will have theirs downloadable. I mean, my team does that for people. So yeah, if that's something you want, I mean, we can do that for you. Obviously, we'd have to work with you to figure out what all that is.
Right.
So there's still a lot that you would have to do. But yeah, we do that for our clients.
Very good. Okay.
Okay.
And Kim, Lorianne, I'm happy to connect you after this call too, Kim, so you can learn a little bit about some of the services that Lorianne offers, getting speaking up and running. And as I noted earlier, many of the women on this call, I think, would use speaking opportunities as a way of driving business into their primary firm or business. They would use this as a way of developing new business opportunities to their primary endeavor. Most of the women on this call wouldn't see public speaking as their only career, but simply a way of driving visibility, driving connection with their ideal audience. So I will definitely connect you with Lorianne right after this so you guys can chat. Precious, I know you were active in the chat. Is there any questions that you have specifically for Lorianne regarding speaking? Precious may be having trouble getting off mute. So I would also just, again, open it up. Kathy, I know that you're taking on a lot of speaking. Do you have any questions about how to transition podcast speaking into other speaking engagements? Many of us do a ton of podcasts. And so there may be an opportunity to transition from doing podcasts, which tend to be free speaking engagements, into paid ones.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing this. This was really fascinating. I do have a question. So I'm currently doing a lot of podcasts, and I kind of stumbled upon this just by accident, and I really love it. It also produces a lot of content for me, which I can repurpose later. So it's kind of it's just a gift that keeps on giving. I do have a question. So now when I've done about like 15, 16 podcasts at this point. So I'm thinking now I want to transition that into actual speeches, into events. Like my target audience is women-owned businesses. I'm a fractional CFO for them, and I'm very particular about where they are in the business. They're making about between $1 million and 10 million in revenue at that point. So I'm trying to find where can I find that the audience lives. So a lot of the places that I'm looking at is like mastermind groups and, business coaches and all that type of stuff. So doing speeches for them. Do you have any recommendations of where I could be finding these opportunities?
Do you subscribe to I believe there's a CFO magazine. And there's Chief Learning Officer, I'm trying to think, I think it's MediaTek, TEK.com has a number of different magazines that just reading those magazines and looking at the ads and things along that line will give you a sense. They'll talk about conferences coming up. Whatever your professional magazine would be of choice, in your career, you figure that those are also what is being read by maybe your ideal client, looking to kind of learn something because they don't have a CFO. They're doing it themselves. Although if you're looking for the 1 to 10 million, they should have a CFO. I would say you'd need to do, obviously within LinkedIn would be your key, or Instagram if you want the younger CEOs looking for CFO information. I'd really have to do my research on that to be able to give you the best information. But financial services have quite a few conferences. There are entrepreneurial conferences all over the place. There's women empowerment ones, and you'd be surprised in some of these, there's some really high-powered women. Where are you located, Kathy?
Chicago.
Okay. Because I know that the Texas Women's Conference is huge down there, right, Linda? Have you participated in that?
It is, but Kathy, there's also, and I'll send this to you, but there's also an app that can be really helpful matching you to different audiences. So there's an app called Podmatch, and Match actually matches speakers like you to podcasts nationally and pitches you as a speaker to those podcasts so that you can connect with your ideal audience. So I'm also happy to help you with that. And Precious looks like she now, I don't know if she's still having audio issues, but she added to the chat our last question. We only have 6 minutes left. So I do want to wrap up, and I will leave just a minute for our wrap up. But Precious said, is it worth paying a coach for positioning of being a public speaker, or is this something one can do on his or her own? And so, Lorianne, if you could quickly just note what the benefits are of working with a coach like you.
Well, there are coaches that will charge you $25,000 to do all this kind of stuff. I have a mastermind community, and I have a mastermind community specifically for speakers. And each one of our masterminds is only 4 people in a group, so that everyone has their time to talk about what their issues are, where they're having problems. And we as a team, yes, I lead, I facilitate, and my biggest role is to put the right people together in that mastermind so that everybody is helping everyone. With regards to positioning, do you mean credibility-wise? You can do that on your own by being consistent in your posting and giving value in your posts. It does take time, though, and I'm not going to tell you. If there's someone comes to you, just as Laura was talking about, the people that say, "Oh, you did such a great job. We're going to get you on," blah 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 blah. If they say we can, raise you by 5,000 followers in the next month, I call baloney. I would have used a different word, but I'm trying to be really nice. It's baloney. It takes time. So what do you offer that no one else speaks about, no one else offers? It's not necessarily what no one else offers. It's interesting because I feel that my differentiator is that I truly care about my clients. I'm not a mentor that deals with 100 people at a time and charges them $10,000 to listen to my brilliance. We can all get this information. It's just a matter of, do you really want to do all the work that my 20 years of experience I've gained and gleaned? But no, what I do is my speaker masterminds, and because you're part of LeadHERship, there is a special offer. I normally charge $500 a month to be part of my mastermind group. With LeadHERship, I'm giving it to you for $300 a month. And what you do is it is a commitment of 6 months, a minimum. But what really happens is we become a family and we stick together, and it's ongoing as long as you want it to go. And the beauty is it's not something that's set up that I'm going to teach you this on this week and this on this week and this on that. No, this is about what's happening for Kim right now. Why is it that you can't get past this level? We're going to brainstorm and get that for you. So it's really much more one-on-one, although it's 4-on-1. So what can I say? But that's the difference. That's the difference. And as I said earlier, if I don't know the answer, I'll go find it for you and bring in a guest speaker. That's what I promise and guarantee.
That's awesome, Lorianne. Thank you for such a generous offer.
Sure.
Appreciate that. And again, I do want to be sure that we finish on time. So if you're interested in taking advantage of Lorianne's phenomenally generous offer and you are a member of LeadHERship Global, then please feel free to reach out to her and connect with her afterwards. As you know, this is being recorded, so we will send this to everyone as a recorded resource for you after today's call. So look for that in the next couple of days. You'll receive this as a recording. And then I would also just note that, you know, again, so grateful for Lorianne to share all of her expertise, all of her insight, her incredible experience. I can vouch for the fact that as a coach, she is remarkable. She's worked with several LeadHERship Global members, and I'm not particularly interested in being a public speaker, so I haven't taken advantage of it, but I know lots of LeadHERship Global members that are, and they report phenomenal impact, incredible acceleration of their success as a public speaker working with Lorianne. So as she said, she is a business coach uniquely designed for public speakers. And I, again, want to thank all of you for your time to listen to Lorianne's expertise, for guidance, for advice, for feedback. And I also want to thank Lorianne very much for today's conversation about how to ensure that you are able to either refresh and reposition your message, find your ideal client, maybe reinvent your public speaking career, or ignite a career in public speaking. As I noted, I'm Linda Fisk. I'm the CEO of LeadHERship Global, and we are thrilled to be able to put programs like this that are incredibly impactful, very insightful together for our members of LeadHERship Global. If you are not yet a member and you're interested in learning more about this impactful community of extraordinary women that are making impact around the world in business and politics and in entertainment, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. It would be my privilege and my pleasure to get in touch with any or all of you individually. And again, so much gratitude and thanks to Lorianne Vaughn Speaks for her incredible talk today, helping all of us think through the possibilities, the options, the opportunities connected with becoming a public speaker. Lorianne, thank you.